Hi, I'm Karen Butler. I'm a BCBA and Clinical Supervisor at Behavioral Development and Educational Services. Our BCBAs are going to share some techniques and strategies that we use during ABA time with your children at school. And we want to just acknowledge that we know you have this enormous responsibility of not only being a parent and providing for your children and doing everything that you do anyway, and now you're also given this responsibility of helping your kids to maintain the skills that they've already had, that they've learned, and even acquiring new skills and continuing in their development. So we wanted to share some strategies and techniques that we use during this time so that we can help you to have positive experiences at home. And so the first one we're going to talk about is called Play with a Purpose. This is really important because it enables you to share in activities with your child without pushing them to do things that you know in the end are good for them, but that's pretty much what we do a lot of during the day. And sometimes we need to just sit back and help them to, explore on their own and be an active and positive part of that. So when you decide you're going to do this, it can be for 10 minutes. If you did it 2 or 3 times a day, that would be great. If you expand it to being, 10 minutes, or if you expand it to being an hour, that's even better. If you're having fun and they're having fun and you want to spend more time and you have it, certainly you can do as much of this as you want. But the important points are that you sit back and you let them, you see what they're going to do with the materials that they have. So if they're in the kitchen set and they are, just pulling things out of bins, then you pull things out of bins. So step one is that you imitate what they're doing. And so if they're taking things out, you're taking them out. And if they're stirring something, you stir something. If they're playing with Legos and they're building a tower up, you're building a tower up. And when they notice that you're doing what they're doing, then you can introduce some variety. Now all of a sudden you start building out instead of just building up. Or instead of imitating your child feeding the baby, you might put the baby in the bed and cover him with a blanket. And they may do it, but the point is not to try to get them to imitate you, and it's not to get them to answer your questions, and it's not to get them to label things after you did. It really is just to have a back and forth turn taking, where you're playing with them and you're not trying to get them to do anything. There are no demands, much unlike most of the other time of the day. And so you're leading only as much as you are following what they're doing. And this back and forth turn taking goes on until they're not interested in whatever you're doing anymore. And so you pack that up and put it away, get some closure to an activity before you let them move on. But then, you either introduce something else or you follow them to see where they go and what they're interested in. And then once again, you get into their play and you do what they're doing. And then you introduce some variety. And it's just this two-step kind of turn-taking playing that goes back and forth. And it might be that if you did this for an hour, you might have 10 or 12 different activities that you were engaged in. And if you do it for 10, you might have, a couple of different activities that you're engaged in. But the important part is that you're not imposing demands. You're not trying to get them to do anything. You're simply in there being a play partner and a positive play partner. And you will find that the more that you do this, the more natural it becomes. And pretty soon we will start involving some teaching during that time, but not to begin with. Uh, we do this for different periods of the day, and we might do it for many days in a week before we actually even start teaching with some of our newer kids. But this is a nice way for you to spend some positive time with your child, and increase your happiness quotient of the week. And we hope that happens for you. We'll give you a visual of the finer points of how to do playing with a purpose. And then we will see you next week with a different idea. All right, take care, stay healthy.